Is it the world's greatest composition? It is not. And that's okay because it's still sight reading practice. And if I was showing it to a student and I'm thinking, this is a pretty weak composition, i.e., the third of the chord is used in multiple parts and it's just not very strong chord progression or something, which happens. For a start, the student's probably not going to notice. But if you asked them, is this a great composition or what do you think about this? I would ask them to point out what do they think that it is that makes it a weak composition. And I just think that's a great thing to do, just listening and analysis as you go through sight reading.
Getting them to think about how it's constructed.
And to not blindly go through.
You're listening to the Topcast, the original podcast for growth-minded instrumental music and voice teachers since 2015, with your host, Tim Topham. Our mission at Top Music is to empower instrumental music and voice teachers to find and nurture their innate creativity so that they can teach lessons that are innovative, integrated and inspiring, and that will have a positive lifelong impact on their students. Join us each week as we interview teachers and creators from around the world and unpack fun and exciting ideas to maximise your teaching and studio business success. Hi teachers, it's Tim here. Welcome back to the Topcast. Great to have your company today. This week we are at the end of our month focusing on technology and music teaching here on the blog and the podcast and of course over on our magazine. Have you downloaded the magazine? It is such a great issue. It's free. Our monthly digital magazine, it's called the Top Music Magazine, is over at topmusic.co/magazine. Go and download it. Join our subscriber list so that we can email it to you every time it comes out. It is packed full of fantastic educational tools, software, and advice for your music studio, all based around this topic of technology that we've been focusing on this month. Today, we're going to be wrapping up our look at tech with some music teaching software that you can use today, and a lot of it for free, that is underpinned by AI and uses AI to work its magic. And as we spoke about last week with Tara, AI is something that we have been using in software for years and years and years and years. So it's nothing new really, but the way that it's being implemented into music teaching technology and the cleverness with which it's being done, is that even a word? The way that it is, the amount that it has improved in the last few years is kind of insane. And so I really wanted to get an expert on to talk about it. And our expert is Katie Argyle, who I'll introduce in a moment. So we've actually taken part of our last Spotlight session. These are our monthly member-only webinars. We hold these each month. And this was about AI tools with my good friend and colleague, Katie Wardrobe from Midnight Music. So Katie is a real superstar when it comes to just knowing what's out there and how teachers can use it both in the classroom and also in the independent music studio, which is what we're talking about today. From unlimited sight reading exercises in software for free. I mean, there's going to be questions about how many publishers will be putting out sight reading books soon, I think, to software that can pull instruments out of a recording so that your student could play along with it, to possibly controversial software that can write music from scratch. Like, this is getting kind of crazy and it's really quite good. And there's great uses for it as well. So even though it might be a bit controversial, we'll talk about how it can be used for good in music lessons. That's what we're going to be unpacking today in the episode. Katie Argyle is a music technology speaker, trainer, consultant, blogger, and podcaster who is passionate about helping music teachers through her business, Midnight Music. She runs hands-on workshops and presents regularly at conferences in Australia and overseas as a keynote speaker and clinician. Katie offers online training and support to hundreds of music teachers all over the world through her music technology professional development online community. That's called the Midnight Music Community. Katie is also the author of the keyboard and technology program for middle school students titled Studio Sessions, which is published by Music EDU, and she's host of the Music Tech Teacher podcast.
I want to really cover some music-specific tools. That's probably the main thing you're here for today. And I've got them in a few different categories. So we're going to I've narrowed it down a little bit because I have a whole heap, but I've kept these ones in. So I'll go through these one by one, starting with sight reading material. And this is one of my favourite things actually, is the option to generate sight reading material. This is where the AI will generate rhythms or melodic examples based on a set of composition rules. And you can have an endless supply of sight reading for your students or for yourself. The simple one that I like to start with is called Rhythm Randomizer. This is a really basic website. The website on the right there is what it looks like. You open it up, there's a rhythm on the screen. Click on the screen, a new rhythm appears instantly. Click again, a new rhythm appears. Now, if you want to, you can go into settings and change the parameters of what it's using to generate rhythm. So you can choose which rhythmic values you want. You can choose how many bars or measures. You can choose other things like time signature and so on. And it will just keep generating material for you. So I use this in a number of ways, just straight up reading rhythms, clapping, tapping, playing, body percussion, whatever you like to do. But if you have a melodic type instrument, bring up the rhythm and then the student plays a single note to the rhythm. They play a chord to the rhythm. You assign a chord progression over 4 beats or maybe 8 beats and get them to play the rhythm using those chords over that time. If you're singing and you've got a couple of students around or a choir, it's great to pop these up and just get them to sing the tonic note that you pick and get them to sing that to this rhythm and then add other notes in to make a chord and so on. So much scope for this. There's a teacher who's part of my community and she uses this every day with her band students and they beg her. If she forgets, they will tell her and beg her to use it because they love it. And at the end of the session, they say they want her to open up the settings, turn on every single rhythmic value, and they make her sight read at the end. And they think that's hilarious. So she gets all of the crazy syncopated rhythms. Something that's kind of similar.
Sorry, Katie, was that free, that software?
That one's free. That one's totally free.
Totally free.
I'll try and remember to say actually as I go along which ones are free and not. So yeah, Rhythm Randomizer, totally free and no login needed or anything. So it's nice and easy. You can, let me just go back. I've got to tell you one more thing. On the panel on the left there's a share settings button. So if you set up the parameters that you want for your students, like at the right level for them, you can click on the share settings button and you'll get a link. And that means when you click on that link in the future, it will go to Rhythm Randomizer with all of those parameters already defined for you. So you don't need to go through. So I would use this in 2 ways. Save links for yourself. Here is the link with the parameters for my beginner level student or my year 7 student or this particular student that you know that you're going to see tomorrow. And then the other thing you can do is actually send that link to your students and then they will just have rhythms generated that at the right level for them. So it's a great option. Sight Reading Factory, kind of similar but much more fully featured. You open it up, you get to choose which instrument you want to generate sight reading for. In conferences and workshops, I just bring up a choir, so I can choose soprano, alto, tenor, bass, and there's every instrument that I can think of in there, standard orchestral instruments, I should say. You can bring that up. You can choose the level for your student, so it can be quite basic. And the reason I love this is because you can go very, very simple. You can choose again time signature, key signature, and so on. And then it will instantly bring up a piece of music fully notated for your student to perform. Now, is it the world's greatest composition? It is not. And that's okay because it's still sight reading practice. And if I was showing it to a student and I'm thinking, this is a pretty weak composition, i.e., the third of the chord is used in multiple parts and it's just not very strong chord progression or something, which happens. For a start, the student's probably not going to notice, but if you asked them, if you said to them, is this a great composition or what do you think about this? I would ask them to point out what do they think that it is that makes it a weak composition. And I just think that's a great thing to do, just listening and analysis as you go through sight reading.
Getting them to think about how it's constructed.
And to not blindly go through.
I agree.
I grew up, as many of you did, I'm sure, doing exams through whichever exam, service that you use, like AMEB for me here in Australia. And there is a sight reading book for the different levels for piano that I did and for oboe and bassoon and recorder. and singing. And once you've done the sight reading exercises in that printed book, they're no longer sight reading for you anymore. So I love this option of just being able to bring continuous examples up all the time. Now, this one you can use for free, very limited, and then it's a paid service after that. But it's really not expensive, and I can't remember the price. I want to say $20 something Australian at least. Someone will check it out while we're talking, I'm sure, but it's quite a reasonable priced program if this is something that you're going to find useful. All right, audio track separation is one of my favourite things. In the olden days of me doing my business, teachers would ask me all the time, can I take out the vocals from the pop song that my student wants to perform because I want a backing track? And I used to use the analogy of it being like a baked cake. You cannot take the eggs out of the cake once it's baked. So no was the answer 16 years ago. And now with AI's help, and actually there's been other things over time, you can now take the eggs back out of the cake after it's been baked. So I want to show you a couple of examples. You can remove vocals, you can split the tracks up in your pop song or whatever it is that you've popped into their software. Split all the stems up and then create your own backing tracks or use it as a learning tool.
I've got to jump in, Katie, sorry, just quickly.
Yep.
Just for teachers who are thinking about this and have been following me for a while and members, when we're teaching pop songs, oftentimes we'll want them to play along to the YouTube. And but sometimes it'd be better if they could take the piano out of that recording and be the pianist in that recording. So they could still have the vocalists and the drums, and they could be the pianist. And this is the software that allows us to do that. We've never had that opportunity before.
No.
This is revolutionary, in my opinion.
You can take the eggs out. Now you can take the eggs out. That's great. This is a song that I've put into this. So this is my current favourite, Moises, Moises, Moises. And this is my current favourite one. They are coming up all the time. There's a lot of software out there, like 10 million versions of this audio track stem separation. I like Moises. You can use, I'm on the free account, so everything I'm showing you today is the free account. And then you'll pay if you want to use it more frequently and upgrade for extra features. Ahead of time, I've put a track in because it takes a few minutes to process, and that wouldn't be fun on a webinar. So here's the original sounding track.
I got this feeling inside my bones.
So I'll mute
It
Justin.
goes electric wave. Oh, we're flying up no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket. Got
So
that
cool.
good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops.
So you can mute different parts. Now on the free version, it will bring out the vocals as a separate thing, the drums as a separate thing, and the bass as a separate thing. And then everybody else is in this track here. So keys, whatever else is in the track. If you pay, you can get more separation further than that. There's other features too. Let me just go back to the beginning because it's only going to do it for the first part of the track because I'm on the free version. I'm going to hit play. I'll just press a couple of buttons.
I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on.
And this one.
Off from my city, off from my home. We're flying up no ceiling when we in our zone.
So it identifies chords and lyrics as well, and you can have those displayed. Now, if you're on the free version, it will only give you the first 1 minute or 30 seconds of the track. But if you pay, you can get access to more of it. So again, if this is something that you would use frequently, it would be worth paying. If not, then no problem. So I'll just turn those off. So those buttons were at the bottom right corner. The other thing I will mention is it identifies tempo. This can be really useful if you're ever putting songs into a software program and you need to know precisely what the tempo is. So it's identifying that at the top right here. And also the key. Oh, I can go up or down in the key if I want to, so I can transpose. Here's a step higher.
And I turn it on. Off from my city, off from my home.
Back to original.
We're flying up no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket. Got that good
Look,
soul.
it's not perfect, but Not perfect, but it could help if a piece of music's in
help
C sharp
for
minor
rehearsal
and they want to play
purposes.
along in C major.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
Or whatever
totally.
C minor.
Definitely for rehearsal purposes. You can do, I won't do it now, but you can do the same thing with tempo. You can speed up or slow down. Those things have been around in a lot of other apps in the past, but it's great to have it all here. Now, if you were to mute the vocals or the keyboard part or whatever it is you want to mute, and then hit export, you can export a version of the track without the muted track. The muted track will not be in your final version. So super useful for all of these things. I love it. It's great. It's like a dream.
Yeah, it is. When I used to do music producing and remix other tracks, and I could never separate the stems. It's amazingly clever.
So cool. And this is another one called Ultimate Vocal Remover Online. Now, if you Google that, it's probably not going to be the first search result. It's got a weird URL, which is X minus or something. The X minus URL is the correct one. And it'll bring you to this. And it's, again, you can, same sort of thing, you upload a track. I've got a little screenshot here because it's not a pretty fancy website. You upload your file here. You then choose what it is you want to separate out from this place here. And at number 3, you can choose an AI model. I don't generally worry about it. Just let it choose its own thing. But if you don't get a good result, come into this drop-down menu and do it again and see what the result is, because it has a few different models to use. Anyway, that one's a good, totally free one. Not as fully featured as Moises, though. All right, I want to just briefly touch on practice feedback. This is software, this genre of software has been around forever, but now it's AI that's powering it in the background, so it's worth mentioning here. This is where students bring up sheet music inside an app, view it on the screen, and hit the record button on their microphone, turn on their mic essentially, and then they play, and the software will give them feedback about whether they're sharp or flat or early or late. So it looks kind of like this. So this is Practice First, which is from Music First. And you can see in the background of the screenshot here, Amazing Grace, there's a worm kind of line underneath, a bit like those voting election lines, voting feedback on presidential debates and so on. The green means the person was all good, in time, not flat or sharp. Then the red is not so good, and the yellow is okay, but not great. And if you hover your mouse over that feedback line, it says what the problem was. So there's an example here saying, oh, this note was cut off early. Now you can actually set how vicious or not the software is. So if you've got beginner students, you turn that way down because you want to be nice. And the older students and more experienced students, you'll turn it up a bit. So again, this is paid software. It's a good one to explore if that's useful. Used by a lot of band and orchestra teachers, particularly in the States, really popular over there. Make Music Cloud is what Smart Music, but this is the new name for it. Smart Music has been around forever. And this is really popular. Same sort of thing. I think it's just worth mentioning both of those. This is the one I really wanted to get to because I know a lot of people light up with this. And this is another one of those 16 years ago, we could not really do this, but now it's a lot better. You have a PDF of some kind of sheet music and you want to change it into a notation file so that you can transpose it or shorten it or rearrange it from viola to violin or take it from tuba to trombone, maybe not that way. Anyway, you get the idea. Editing in some way the notation that you see on a piece of paper. So again, the ability to do this has been around for years and years, not AI powered, but now AI is doing this and it's a much better result and it's a much quicker result too. So if you've ever tried scanning software with something, scanning music with something like Photoscore in the past and you're like, oh my gosh, that was a process and was it actually worth my time? This is an incredible improvement on that process because of AI. So you'll take a PDF, you get it into a digital format. Hang on, I didn't say that right. You take a physical piece of music, get it into a digital format. So you end up with a PDF. Then you will open it in the app, press a button, and it will take a little time. You go and make a cup of tea and you come back, and then it will change it into an editable or interactive notation file, which you can then move across to your notation software in order to do something to it.
So if you want to know what Katie was about to say, come and check out the full replay in our Top Music Pro library. She outlines a heap more tools that you can use in your studio today, including ones that actually create music from scratch, which can be a great benefit actually for sparking the beginnings of composition and arranging and styles and creativity. So you'll get to watch that full recording if you're a Top Music Pro member. You can find out more about that at topmusicpro.com. And just to let you know, once you're inside, you'll be able to access our previous spotlights, which include those with Andrea Dow from Teach Piano Today, all about student motivation. We had Nicola Canton from Vibrant Music Teaching talking about practice. Sarah Campbell from Savvy Music Studio, who focused on social media with us. And then coming up, if you're a member, you're going to be hanging out with me and Noreen Wengen, who's the author of the book, The 2-Year Waitlist. She's going to be talking about marketing and branding. And then we've got the fantastic, the one and only Penelope Roskell on technique in December. So if you're a member, you'll be able to join all of those future ones and you'll be able to access all of the past ones, plus, of course, all of our amazing online courses and resources for teachers. Oh, and I should mention too, we're hosting a hands-on members-only 7-day challenge all about ChatGPT at the start of November. So this is the perfect time to join Top Music Pro. If you've been waiting but looking at all this AI stuff and wondering about, okay, I really should probably get on top of this. AI can do so much to save you time and make things easier for you. So if you're not using it, you're actually doing yourself a disservice. So come along, join the membership and join our ChatGPT 7-day challenge, which is coming up at the start of November. Super hands-on, over-the-shoulder look at us using it, how we use it, and then helping teach you to do the same thing. I really hope you can come and join us, topmusicpro.com if you're not a member. That is the end of the show for this week. Thanks for joining us. Next week on the podcast, we are kicking off our November theme, which is all about streamlining your studio. You're going to be meeting an amazing teacher called David Martin and his incredible story of how he went from bankruptcy to over 1,000 students, multiple teachers over 3 locations. That whole story next week. I really hope you can join me then. Speak to you in a week's time. Bye, everyone.
How do you keep up to date with all the latest trends and research into music education? How do you connect with other teachers around the world and make sure your teaching stays fresh and relevant for students of all ages and stages, both now and into the future? I created our Top Music Pro membership to be the one-stop shop for music teaching resources, training, support, and community, and I'd love for you to come and join us inside. With over 40 comprehensive training courses, hundreds of teaching demonstrations and lesson plans, free monthly sheet music, discounts, and all the business and pedagogy support you could ever need, Top Music Pro is the community you've been looking for. If you're ready to level up your learning from the podcast and join thousands of other teachers in our global network, head over to topmusicpro.com today. If you enjoy this show and want to hear more of our work, be sure to subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening today. For links and resources mentioned in this episode, visit us at topmusic.co/podcast or check out the show notes. I'm Tim Topham. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy your week ahead, and I'll catch you next time.